Hello everyone. Thank you very much for coming to the Usborne book party. I am really excited to be your consultant tonight. My name is Crystal Allen and I am a pretty new consultant with Usborne Books. I just started hosting parties just a few months ago, so I'm still getting my bearings a little bit, but I'm really excited to have you tonight and to party with you and share with you some of the books that we love in our family. Just to give you a little bit of a background, I know you probably have already read it on the earlier posts, but I am a homeschool mom of 5, and we live in Jackson, Tennessee. We started homeschooling because my husband's job moved us to this town when my oldest child was about to start kindergarten, and up until then I had worked full-time. And I really just wasn't ready to send him off yet. And there were some other concerns as well, but I just was finally going to get to be home with him and my other kids, and so I really wasn't ready to ship him off to school and not get to see him very often. And so we decided that the first year we would give homeschooling a try, and the curriculum that we chose included tons of Usborne books. So when we first started our journey of homeschooling, I was introduced to Usborne books. I had used them just a little bit before that, but as I read through the books that year, I really started to enjoy them and appreciate them and see how big of a difference they were making in our family's life and in the lives of my children and their learning. They many times could be found after we had read the book, reading it again on their own in the corner or in a little book nook hanging out. And so they really love these books just as much as I do. So fast forward just a few years, we're starting our 7th year of homeschooling this year, and every single year we have gotten to use Usborne books. It just seems like they are full, just absolutely chock full of great information that has a lot of detail and awesome pictures. And so especially for things like science and history, they are just phenomenal resources that really help your kids to get a picture of what it looks like in those historical times, or when you're working on an experiment. And so like I said, our family fell in love with the books, and then I got a chance to host a party, and I just realized that I loved these books already, and so it made a lot of sense to start selling them, because I'm really passionate about learning through reading and spending time with your family through reading. It's something that we do on a daily basis. It's literally how I'm teaching my children, and so I'm really excited to share with you some of our favorites tonight. First of all, like I told you, I have 5 kids, and my kids are preteen all the way down to toddler. My youngest is 2, and she is all over the place and running and playing, and she just loves to be active, like most toddlers do. And her name is Everly. She has just recently started enjoying sitting down and really being able to sit and read and listen and interact with the books the right way, without tearing them up on accident or being done 2 seconds after we sit down. So one of her favorites right now is Are You There, Little Bunny? This cute little book, you can kind of see there's like pass-throughs. You can kind of see through here that there are little spaces that you can kind of see through the book. But this is basically a kind of hide-and-seek little book for her. And so we search for the little bunny the entire way through the book. So as you open it, different animals are helping you search. And you can think, oh, it looks like it might be the bunny's feet. And then you peek through. Oh, and it doesn't turn out to be. It's going to be a butterfly. And so then we think we might find its tail, and there are all kinds of little things that you're searching for that are parts of the bunny. So she's learning about those things as we're searching, and she loves hide and seek. So this is the perfect book because we're doing hide and seek and we're reading. This is a really nice one. There are not a lot of words, so even though she is listening better, she's not always in the mood to listen. And there are also lots of extra features, like little finger trails that she can follow, and lots of bumpy features on the different bugs or animals that are in the pictures. And you can see the pictures are really, really cute. I love also that the book is very, very sturdy. So when she gets rough with her books or gets busy and dashes off and they fall off her lap, they don't get torn up very easily. So they hold up awesome, especially for someone in that toddler range where they're always on the go. My second child is about to be 5 in December, And so we're doing a lot of preschool and things like that this year with her. And she is really interested in the Lift the Flap books. We have just discovered these. We were gifted these by Grandma. And I had not done a lot of Lift the Flap books before because I have had young children in my home. And those of you who have Lift the Flap books know what that looks like. And 10 minutes after you get them, those flaps are ripped off and you feel discouraged and frustrated that you spent the money on a Lift the Flap book. But I have been so impressed by these Lift the Flap books. And so now I'm super excited to get as many as I possibly can because my kids just love them. This one is the Lift the Flap ABC book. And she is really in the mode for learning her letters right now. Every time I turn around, she knows a new letter, even though we haven't talked tons about them. And this book has really been a helpful tool. What you can do inside the book is there are all kinds of flaps that you get to peek into, and there's a letter and many times a picture that comes along with it where you can see the letter that would start the whatever the word is or the picture is inside the little Lift the Flap, the little flap. And so throughout the book there are lots of different opportunities to learn the letters in many different ways. Some of them are just looking at the letters completely by themselves. This one is like putting them in order so that you can kind of see like, oh, how did the letters go in the ABC song? You know, like ABC, all of that kind of fun stuff. And so she has enjoyed being able to guess what comes next because she knows the song and has sang it for many years. So the other pages will be letters, and then you might be trying to figure out what the picture is underneath that might start with that word. But I have been just really impressed by the sturdiness of the flaps, by the activities that are inside of it. This keeps her entertained, and she really enjoys sitting down with me and showing me all that she knows and all that she's learning. And she's learning it on her own, which is so fun. It's so fun to watch her be independent and not need lots of help in this area. She enjoys the ABC one, but her most favorite is Lift the Flap numbers because she is the queen of counting and adding and numbers. This is her go-to subject. And so she has spent a lot of time doing this one. And this one is exactly the same as the ABCs. There are just so many fun activities that are indirectly teaching counting or number sense. And we have had a really fun time with the Lift the Flap books. So like I said, I'm very excited to get more of them in the future. My third child has recently become an avid reader. Over the summer, she went from being reluctant isn't what I would call it. I would say she was not very confident in her reading ability. Even though I knew she could do it, I could hear that she was reading. She didn't really believe that she could. And all of a sudden, over the summer, she discovered that she could read, and she was reading everything, and I couldn't keep up with her. And her reading level just jumped in no time at all. So a few of the books that we have enjoyed reading for that age range, where they're really getting the hang of reading, but they're not totally sure about it yet, or maybe they've just caught fire, are some of these really cute phonics readers. This one is called Spider and a Glider. What I love about these is these are rhyming. And there are lots of different books like these. There are a whole set of them actually, and you can purchase a lot of them by themselves, some of them in small sets. There are all different kinds of options for these, and of course they're really small, so they are not super pricey. I liked that about these as well. But they're very fun. They're quick stories, and so if at first she was needing some assistance, we might read it together once or twice, and then she would know the story enough to be able to look at the words and know what we were trying to say. And the pictures are adorable. This cute little spider is busy, and she is wishing that she could fly. And of course, we all know, thankfully, spiders don't fly. Most of them don't. And she's trying to figure out how she's going to be able to do that. And so she goes on an adventure and meets people along the way that help her figure out how she might be able to fly. And so these books, phonics readers, were a really good starting place or continuing on place for you to work with your beginning reader or middle of the road reader when they're early readers. After that, when Jovi decided, my middle child decided that, oh my gosh, I really can read, she got really excited about being able to read chapter books. I think anybody who has bigger kids remembers that day that they discovered, I can read a chapter book, I can read a big book. And to Jovi, this meant that she was a real reader. If she could read a chapter book, then she was a real reader. She wasn't just somebody who could piece together some sounds here and there. This meant like she's the real deal. And this series was a lot of fun. They're very quick, which I loved that about this series, was that she didn't get overwhelmed with it, and she could go in her room and sit down and confidently read it without a lot of help and come out, triumphant that she had finished this book. But Billy B. Brown, and the best project is the one I'm showing you here. I'm going to show you kind of the inside of it so you can see. They're very quick and they're easy. The words are big, so for readers who get a little overwhelmed by a lot of words on a page, this would be a really great place to start. And Billy has lots of adventures. Even though my daughter is a girl, I believe that boys would really enjoy these as well, because really it's just this age child and the kinds of things that they're going through. She has lots of different books. The whole series can be purchased in a set. We just have a few of them because we were trying them out to see if she would like them. But I definitely hope to get more in the set because it turned out to be such a positive experience for my daughter in our house. One of the areas that we have used Usborne the very most in our homeschooling journey was to do science. From the very beginning, we got multiple science books. And our curriculum would call for reading a few pages a day and doing a few experiments a day. And Usborne has an incredible library of information books and science activity and experiment books that we have just loved, that we have grown very, very much just through opening a good book and doing the activities or learning what was happening on the pages. I could recommend almost every single science book that they offer, but this one was a new one to us, and so I wanted to show it to you today because I have not used it, but I was so excited about the way it was set up. 50 science things to make and do. If your kids are like mine, they love to go off and do projects on their own or crafts or things along those lines, and I loved how this book was set up where it's just one activity per page. And the pages are so sturdy and strong, and so if you spill on them, you just wipe it off. It's not going to be the end of the world. I was excited about that because when you have young kids and they're working on experiments, sometimes they get pretty messy. So what I loved about this book was, like I said, the whole experiment is on one lay flat page, and so you can lay it right out on your table. The kids can read through it together. In my house, they can together. And they can complete the activity as a family or as a couple of them if they're interested in doing something that on that day. Or sometimes we could use it as a family, like if I was leading the lesson. Sometimes we do it that way as well. But I thought this book was set up in such a unique way. And there are so many awesome projects that looks like so much fun. So I cannot wait to try this one out with our kids this year in school. We just started back, so we're kind of getting rolling, and I'm excited to use this in our science curriculum this year. I'm going to use it to supplement just a little bit. My next child is a 9-year-old girl, and she is my reluctant reader. I love her dearly, but she would much rather be doing sports and running and playing and imagining up humongous, incredible worlds and ideas. And she's kind of the leader of all of the games in our house. And so she is not the one who wants to sit down and read. She would prefer to be busy. And so we were trying to come up, she and I, with some ideas for books that she would really be interested in. So that we could help her discover that reading is also fun, even though it's not running and playing, it's still lots of fun. And so one of the books that she had told me she was so excited to try was the Usborne Complete Shakespeare book. And I thought that through and kind of considered, well, that's probably going to be pretty challenging. Are you for sure you want to do it? And she was certain. She just absolutely loves a good love story and could not wait to hear about it and share that with me. And so we went ahead and purchased it and to give it a try. And we have been loving it. What we ended up doing with this, because it is quite above her reading level. She's only 9. And so even though she can read it very, very well, the normal words, some of the tricky names from Shakespeare's plays have not been super simple. And so she just needs assistance on how to pronounce the names. And she has done an incredible job sitting with me, and night after night she begs to sit down and read. You can see this is definitely a book for an older reader. I think it would be a really great book for high school, college, adults. I think it is a really neat treasury. I love that this one is one of the hardback books, and so it's going to hold up and hold on for a long time. It does have a handy dandy little ribbon for keeping your place, and I better keep it in there the right spot or she'll be mad at me that we don't know where we're at. But we have enjoyed just sitting down and trying to read a couple pages a night together in each of the plays. And she has been feeling the pain of Romeo and Juliet and been excited on some of the other funny plays, the comedies that are in here. But it's a really extensive list of his plays, but it's written in a little bit more simplified version so that you can get the whole story, but that it isn't so complicated that it's overwhelming to her. And we have had a really nice time reading this together, and I think she has started to discover that there are lots of neat things that you can imagine and learn more about, and lots of different adventures you can take when you're reading a book. So this has been a godsend to our family because it has helped her to see that there are lots of other books out there, that if I find one I don't love, that doesn't mean I don't love to read. So this has been a positive at our house. The last one that I'm going to tell you about for my kids, or like one by one for my kids, is for my son. He is 11 years old and a sixth grader. So a lot of the books that we use, he has been the one to use them the most. He has spent the most time doing Usborne. And if I was probably going to take a poll in my house, he's the one who loves them the most as well. Whenever it comes time to get rid of a curriculum for a year, he always chooses out the Usborne books to keep. He loves going back and remembering what we learned that year, and he really enjoys kind of reminiscing on, do you remember when we learned this and then we went here? And we've had a lot of fun just sometimes pulling him out from years ago, and he remembers all the things that we've talked about, and it's just blows me away that he would have that good of a memory from books. It's just an incredible gift to be able to share that with my kids. So one of his newest favorite Usborne books is the Maps Activity Pack. And even though it looks a little bit young in the pictures, this is definitely for an older child. You're going to want to make sure that they have a concept of maps. This is supposed to be helping them learn maps. And my guy is a huge geography fan. He loves to look at maps. He loves to, when we're reading, sometimes in the school area, he would spend time just looking at the map and memorizing locations while I was reading, and I had no idea. And so all of a sudden one day we were talking about a state or a country I don't even remember, and he would know all the details. And I couldn't believe we hadn't even really gone over that, but he just is drawn to them. I think the colorful nature of maps and knowing places and understanding where I am in comparison to those places was just fun to him. And so we got this cool little activity pack, and he has really enjoyed going through it, but it has been challenging. Even though he's 11, it's not been like super, super easy. The pictures do look young, and so I think my younger kids are drawn to that, and they enjoy seeing all the details. So I think if you got it for a younger child, it would be really useful for just talking through things, but it would definitely need some help from a grown-up or a older sibling. But there are so many pages in this. There are activity after activity after activity. And then as you go through, it's just learning how to read a map, how to use a map. And he has really enjoyed having this in his possession to just play on the maps as opposed to just looking at them and memorizing them. So that is each of my children on their own. I did want to give you a couple of other extras that we just really love as a whole family. One of the books that I think everyone should check out is the Shine a Light books, and I am certain you are going to see these on lots of the videos because they're just so unique and different than anything else that's out there. This book is Secrets of Animal Camouflage, and the really awesome thing about this book, and if you've seen Usborne book videos before, I'm sure you've already heard about them because we have quite a large series of these books. But the really awesome thing about this book is that when you look at the pictures and read the story, there's almost always some sort of question that you might have to answer or learn about, and then you take your handy dandy little light. I'm going to turn my light on. Oh, my light might be running out of battery. Oh, it might be running out of battery. Well, I may have to show you later, but you can see here that the book has a picture and then they'll ask you a question, and as you shine the light behind it, then you can see the other thing. Hey, Brinley, will you bring me a light? Yeah, or a flashlight or one of mine. I'm going to have some help from one of my kids because the light I had is running out of battery. But I love these books because sometimes you can't even see or have any idea what's there. And then as you shine the light behind it, it shines through. So kids of all ages love this. My big kids come in to listen to this. They're excited to see what's next. My little kids love that you can see a secret through the page. They're very excited to sit down and share it as a family, and we have spent a whole lot of time reading through the few of these that we have. We are excited to try to get some more here soon in the future. I'm going to put this to the side and I'll come back to it in just a minute to show you. Another one that I have really appreciated that we're just starting to get to use is this cute little town and country turnaround book. My kids attend church with us in the service, and so anybody who has had a child with them that needs to sit quietly for an extended period and they're trying to keep somebody occupied, this is a really great book for that. Thank you, sweetie. I'll take it. This is a really great book for that. It is set up very unique, where you have two different things that you're looking at. So the town is one direction and the country is the other. And so they kind of teach you, right here you can kind of see, so this is the farm. And there are all these adorable little animals that you're searching for, and you're going to look through the pictures to find what you're doing. And then you just flip the book over, and as you flip the book over, you can see the town animals. And so it's sort of like an opposites book, kind of, just looking at, in this area you'd find these things, and in this area you'd find these things. And so any kids who might live in town might not know what's in the country, or any kids who live in the country might not know what's in town. My kids have had experiences in both places because we moved from a small town to a much larger city town. And so they have had experience in both places, but I know a lot of kids grow up in only one place and they haven't had as much experience in the other places. And so this has been a lot of fun to search and find and to enjoy keeping busy when we need to stay quiet. I'm going to come back really quick to my key secrets of animal camouflage and show you the trusty light now that my daughter brought me a light. So what happens here is you can see the picture, and then in this case it says, can you spot any insects? And so we just take our trusty little light and we shine it up here, and you can see it says Russell, and then up here there's an insect in the tree that you might not have noticed, and you can see it's kind of like a stick bug, and you can see it really, really well when you're in a darkened place. And our kids have a very fun time with this, and when you look closely you really can see that it actually is a stick bug, so I'm going to bring it close. But you might not have noticed it without that extra help from the light. And there are all different types of books that are within the Shine Light series. And I would suggest any of them because they're all a lot of fun. The very last book that I'm going to share with you today, I don't have it set up, but my kids love it. It was the surprise of all the books that we purchased at the very beginning. This is called the Usborne Slot Together Theater. And my girls in particular, but even my son has joined in, have loved putting on the plays. So what happens is you have a book that comes inside of a cute little box that holds together very well. It has some magnets, and it holds all of the pieces that you would need to have. As you push, well, hang on, let me do one thing first. As you take the pieces out of the box, so here's your little handy dandy box. As you take the pieces out of the box, you can slide them together. They come all together, so you can see here's the stage, and then we've got a backdrop, and we slide them into each other, and it creates this incredible theater. And I'm going to show you a picture of it so that you can kind of see what it turns out to look like. And the theater right now is put down because my little one was really enjoying playing with it, and we were a little bit worried that she would play with it a little too hard. But they stick it all together, and then they put on the plays. And inside this book, they tell you all about how to put on the plays together. And they work together. One person was the narrator, and another person was the lights and the moving of the props and the backgrounds, and another person was the moving of the people. And there are all kinds of cute, adorable characters that you can attach to little sticks, and then they move through the theater as they're needed. And so they work together as a group, which doesn't always happen when you have 5 kids. It's not always a teamwork kind of effort. There's sometimes a lot more fighting than there is getting along. But this activity kept everyone busy for hours, and they got along amazing. They could not wait to work together and put it together and make plans to make the show awesome. And then they brought us all in and then put on their little show. So we had so much fun watching them use these books. So that would be one that if you have young kids who love acting and pretending, I would highly recommend this one. I'm excited. They also have a Victorian house, and I have one daughter who just loves dollhouses. So that's one that I'm putting on my wish list for next time. Pretty much that's all I wanted to share with you from my end. There are so many other books I could share with you. I could go on and on and on and on, but tonight I just had to pick a few, otherwise I would be here all night. But I have really enjoyed sharing with you about the books that we love and use on a daily basis. There are so many more in our catalog. Sometimes I know there's so many it almost is overwhelming. So if you have any questions at all, I am happy to answer them. I know a lot about a lot of the books because we've used them so much. And if I don't know a lot, then I have friends who do. So I will check out and check in with them to find out your questions and answers if I don't have them. But I would be happy to help you out in any way. Hopefully you told me your kids' names and ages already so that I was able to come up with a wish list for you. But if not, go to that post because I can definitely give good recommendations based on your child's interests and ages and things that you want them to be learning. There are just so many great books that are Usborne books, and for me what I love the most is that it's helping our young readers to turn into leaders in the future. So I appreciate you guys coming to the party tonight, and I can't wait to keep partying with you. Make sure you keep commenting on all the posts because that's how you get entries into the prize at the end. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to check in with me. Thanks.